to another episode of It's Been Real. I am Sarah, and I am back again with an episode. Barry, sadly, is not available for today, but I did get a pretty awesome replacement. So my buddy, my life partner.
Your partner in crime.
The one I corrupted. Yes. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Coder. I've been friends with you for, what now, 2 years, something like that? From D&D, yeah.
Yeah. So, basically, I brought Coder up here on this podcast because he has a very interesting predicament.
Yeah, I've been told by numerous friends that I know absolutely nothing about good movies.
Yeah, you know nothing about movies in general, my sweet, sweet summer child.
Okay, that's fair.
So yeah, basically me and Coder here, we started watching movies just because I would quote something or make a reference to something, and then he would Captain America be like, I don't get that reference. And so I have made it a mission in my life to corrupt you with really good movies so that you become a movie fanatic like I am.
I mean, I like good movies. As soon as I was able to drive to the library, as soon as I got my license, I was checking out any movie that was considered a, quote, classic. But, yeah.
So, I made it my point. We hung out last week, and we got into the topic of, horror movies and, because it's the spoopy season.
Always spoopy.
And, they're, because of the Backstreet Boys reunion tour, this spoopy season really hasn't seen any horror movies in theaters. So we made our own double feature. So you had told me that you had never actually seen Interview with the Vampire before. You've never seen any of the Anne Rice movies.
Yeah, no, I'd heard of Interview with the Vampire before, but it just seemed, I don't know, cheesy? That was the best way I could describe it. It looked cheesy.
We ended up finding Interview with the Vampire right now is streaming on Hulu. So if you're able to go on Hulu, it's there. We actually had to rent the follow-up, which was Queen of the Damned. We rented it for $3 on YouTube. So that was a lot of fun, and it was an interesting double feature. I personally had never watched them back to back before. So do you want to get into it?
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
All right, so Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, so honestly, I really liked that movie.
Yeah.
It was really good. A lot better than I expected it to be, and quite frankly, a lot better than it had any right to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, first off, I wouldn't call it a horror movie. It had vampires in it, and that's about as spoopy as it got. But aside from that, no, it was a really good, drama. No, I really enjoyed that one.
Good. So what did you think, as Barry has put it, Interview with the Vampire is basically an exercise in homoeroticism.
Oh no, they was all gay for each other.
Oh my gosh. Well, actually, so Interview with the Vampire, this was the 1994 film starring Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Kirsten Dunst, Antonio Banderas, and Christian Slater. Christian Slater is my boy. I love him so much. I am such a nerd. I'm such a nerd. He was in all my favorite 80s classics, which I can't wait to show you.
Yeah, see, I know, again, there's all these actors that I know their names, like Christian Slater. I know that name. Couldn't tell you for the life of me any movie I've seen that he is in.
And so basically it is a movie that follows the character Louis, played by Brad Pitt, as he retells his story of how he became a vampire back in
pre-revolution America.
So this is how awesome this movie is. So the budget of this film itself was about $60 million.
Pretty good budget.
It's back in the 90s.
Especially in the 90s, yeah.
That was a pretty hefty. The box office, it made quadruple that. $224 million.
Yeah, everyone was wanting to see Brad Pitt.
Oh, yeah. So, the cool thing was, a really funny thing is, Brad Pitt, I believe at this time, was not the pull for this movie.
Would it have been Tom Cruise, though?
It would have been Tom Cruise and Antonio Banderas. So, Tom Cruise, a fun fact, Anne Rice did not want Tom Cruise to play Lestat.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. So, basically, she was like, nope, that's not who I envisioned as him. She threatened to, quit the film and pull her contract if they had, and they heavily convinced her, no, you don't understand, he's the big name actor, we need a big name actor to play this guy. And so she was like, fine. And she, like, has held the biggest grudge because she still does not like him in this film. And I think it is hilarious. Like, this came out when I was 3. So, of course, I was not the demographic for this movie at the time. At the time. But as I got older, like, you know, like, the early 2000s, as you know, in the early 2000s, we were all vampire crazy. I got into the Interview with the Vampire. All I saw was Brad Pitt being all emo and, the world just doesn't understand my pain. And I loved every minute of it. So I really loved it so much. I'm really glad that you liked it too.
Yeah, no, like, one of the big things that really impressed me with it was, honestly, the pacing of the story.
Yeah.
You know, at no point did it feel rushed or too prolonged.
I felt like it was a slow burn.
It also, yeah, it you know, the entire time you can feel this continuing, like, tension as he's learning how to be a vampire, you know, with Lestat, breaking out onto his own. All of these, it really helps sell the passage of time. Mm-hmm. You know, it goes from, you know, about Revolution times, late 1700s, to the storytelling part of it probably drops out around the early 1900s.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And that entire time, you know, it very clearly, you can see the passage of time both through, obviously, the set pieces, but through his mindset as far as, you know, how he perceives being a vampire.
Yeah. You read way too much
way too much into things.
I was just like, you're like sitting there being like waxing philosophically about a vampire movie. And I'm just sitting there and being like, I mean, the guys were hot. So I'm glad that you really liked it. Were there any downfalls in this movie that you just like can't quite, you're like, I just really didn't like this thing in it?
You know, the one thing that kind of like was, I found interesting, I wouldn't necessarily call it a downfall, was the fact that when they made it to, what was it? Was it Italy?
France.
Yeah, because it was Paris. You know, the whole coven there, their whole thing was definitely that secrecy.
Yeah. And
their upstanding vampire code, which, shove it up your ass. But the fact that they're putting on these plays and murdering people in front of public.
No. That was the genius of it, because they're vampires pretending to be humans, pretending to be vampires.
I get that.
No, because like... But
on a large scale thing, how many times can you do that and not people realize, you know, I saw so-and-so go into the theater. I haven't seen them since.
So actually, fun fact, this was during the time, like, when they're putting on these plays, it was actually during in that era where the macabre was actually really popular. So, like, they would actually put on these plays where they talk about, like, death and illness and the plague and stuff like that. So okay. Like, it actually has historical roots to it, which I gave huge props to Anne Rice for, because like a lot of people don't talk about the macabre and stuff like that. So people were just like really obsessed with death, just for the fact that like they were just such good actors on stage that they could murder someone and everyone's like, oh, this is such a really good shot. I mean, that blood. That blood spatter just looks so real. How did they do that?
And hats off to that leading actress there, though. The one that died in the end. Bravo! I would have sworn she actually got kidnapped.
I could have sworn she actually was scared. But for real, if we saw something like that, we probably would have thought the same thing. Like, we wouldn't have, like, if it was presented to us like this was a play and everything before that.
I mean, I can see that. Again, the issue is not in the one time of it. It's it as a running show.
Yeah.
That's when it starts breaking down as far as, okay, but seriously, how did they not pick up?
How much blood could one person hold that can feed, like, 17 vampires on stage?
Exactly. They had so many other vampires on there. You know, the human body only has, like, a couple liters.
Yeah, that was the one thing that was my negative coming out of it, is they don't necessarily tell you, like, can vampires actually live without blood, or do they need to have a daily intake of blood? They don't really tell you that. So, like, they don't tell you if, like, they're doing it out of survival, like, they have to kill someone every night, or is it just, like, that is the only nourishment that they get and it can hold off for a long period of time on it. We're going to be beating this dead horse. It's a good movie. It's a cult classic. I'm really glad that you liked it. I'm glad that you didn't really find that many faults with it.
Yeah, it was pretty solid, you know, through and through.
And that leads into Queen of the Damned.
Oh, God.
So let's go into a little bit of history with Queen of the Damned. 1994, Interview with the Vampire came out. Anne Rice hated it so much.
Why?
Because it wasn't her book. So Anne Rice, this is the lady, like, she would sue people for making fan fictions about her book.
I remember you telling me about that.
So it took a very long time that she needed to release rights to, like, one of her other books. And this was, like, the second vampire renaissance that was coming out. So this
2002. That's around the time. Is that before or after Twilight?
2002. This was before Twilight.
Okay.
2002. I was 11 years old. Twilight came out when I was in high school. So this was the beginning of the vampire renaissance. Twilight kind of amplified it a little bit more.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So this one has Stuart Townsend as Lestat. You have Aaliyah. Don't know how to say her name, but she's basically Connie from the Mighty Ducks. Those are, like, the main characters in this. It's just those three. Like, everyone else is kind of side characters, and they're very forgettable. Because, like, they mention them, they give you a little bit of their backstory, and then they just kind of, like, screw off for, like, 30 minutes.
Go off. No. We don't need you anymore.
We don't need you.
Plot's moving.
So, basically, this movie... How do I explain this?
No. So to give a prelude, when we put this on, Barry, we asked if he wanted to join us. He goes, "No, I don't watch trash." And he has shown me some of the most beautiful and terrible movies of all time. So when he says a movie is trash, I cringe. Yeah. I get ready.
I'm friends with a lot of vampire aficionados, people who love the vampire subculture, are part of the Gothic underground. All of them have the same resounding answer when I ask them of how they like Queen of the Damned. We don't watch it for the story, we watch it for the music.
That's fair. Pretty freaking good.
Yeah. So, I believe I mentioned this to you. The Queen of the Damned is actually a Frankenstein creation of the Vampire Lestat and the Queen of the Damned from the Vampire Chronicles.
And boy, oh boy, do you feel it.
Yes. It is... God, it just jumps everywhere, I feel.
Yeah, no, it really felt like there was like 4 different plots, all competing for screen time, just jumbled on top of each other.
Yeah, and like the problem is like the actual stories, like from the Vampire Chronicles, they're good on their own. They can be their own movies. Why did we need both of these to be Frankenstein together? So like Vampire Lestat, basically, it literally begins with Lestat giving his details of everything that's gone on from the Interview with the Vampire, basically saying, like, oh, Louis a drama queen. He got things wrong, okay? Like, he doesn't understand what was going on in my mind, kind of thing. And so it was him trying to set the record straight about, like, how the world now perceives him and setting things right. So it's going into his past and all this and that. Queen of the Damned is, like, I believe in Queen of the Damned, like, Louis is in it, Lestat is, of course, in it, like, everyone from, like, the vampire, like, the historic... My mind just went blank as to, like, what the organization's name was.
Oh, the where the leading actress was in.
Yeah, where Connie is from. And
they played absolutely zero role in the movie. I have no idea.
I believe she is solely in Queen of the Damned. She is not in the Vampire Lestat. Which is... they tried to shove her, like, having a love interest with Lestat in this one, and you feel that it is forced. Like, there's, like, almost no chemistry whatsoever between these two actors. This one definitely needed, like, several rewrites.
No, it needed to be cut into 2 different movies. In its individual pieces, there are definitely parts of it that are really interesting to watch.
Yeah.
You know, him being in the, running the band. You know what? Honestly, I would have loved to see what that other secret society was.
Which secret society?
Oh, gosh. The secret society that the leading actress was a part of.
Fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. Like, you made me second guess myself. I'm sorry.
He wasn't in the credits.
So audience, I swore up and down throughout the whole movie that Chester Bennington... the late Chester Bennington from Linkin Park did a lot of the singing for Lestat. And you, good sir, were like, I didn't see his name, so obviously he wasn't in it. And I literally had to be like, wait, was Chester Bennington in Queen of the Damned? Let's set this record straight. He was. He obviously, like, he had to have been, like, he might have been under a stage name. He could have been under something else. He could have just been under, like, the band name.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of different ways he could have been wrapped up in that.
Right. you get this beautiful voice of an angel, Chester Bennington, to sing for this Townsend fella. But the speaking voice and the singing voice just do not match up whatsoever.
Not one bit.
I could go literally all day about like the downfalls of Queen of the Day.
Honestly, the big thing for me, and it's a broad topic when it comes to this movie, but the plot inconsistencies. For the love of God. Not only inconsistencies within itself, but inconsistencies with its direct predecessor. Interview with Vampire.
Yeah.
There's...
We're like, it's a very slow burn, like, Interview with the Vampire. It's slow, the movie's good, but, like, the action scenes are very action-packed. Like, when the tension is high, it's heartbreaking in moments. And then, like, you get to Queen of the Damned where it's just like, well, the chart says we need to have a vampire action sequence, so we're gonna put it right here. But no, like, it was...
The pacing was all over the place. You know, in the beginning of the movie, it definitely showed it had potential. Because, you know, the first lead up, you know, through, like, the press interview where they did ungodly amount of exposition.
I mean, to be fair. So, to be fair, that is probably going to be the best way that you get exposition across. But you are correct on the fact that it was so clunky in the way that it did it. It was like, okay, no reporter would ask these questions.
Exactly.
Like, it has to feel natural. Tom Cruise, Lestat, chewing up every inch of scenery he could find. Like, you go to Townsend and he's just, like, very toned down in that sense. It felt like they were two completely separate characters.
Oh, yeah, two completely different renditions or interpretations of a character.
But did you enjoy it?
Did I enjoy it?
Yes.
I am going to say it was entertaining.
Okay.
Would I watch it again outside the confines of watching it with friends and us just tearing it to pieces? No.
Shockingly good bad film.
Yes.
Okay.
And so did you? I know you had it pulled up. What was the budget on that movie? Because I tell you what, the action scenes in that looked infinitely worse than the action scenes in the first one.
So the budget was $35 million. So
less than the first one, like half, half as much.
Yeah, about half as much. Box office, $45.5 million. It got returned, so it made money to pay the bills. It made enough money to pay the actors, to pay the crew, to pay for marketing, possibly. Because this was everywhere in the early 2000s. Really? Yeah. Because this was right after Aaliyah died. So, like, they were like, last movie Aaliyah was in before she passed away. Kind of, like, it was, like, a big draw to, like, see this movie just for her. And she's only in it for, like, a third of the movie.
But, and you had said this when we were talking about it before we watched it. She 100% stole it.
Oh, yeah. Like, as soon as she showed up, like, Connie who?
As soon as she showed up, I cared nothing about the rest of the movie, just wanted to see her on screen.
Yeah, she had that magnetic personality, which I really loved.
Yeah, and, you know, she was selling the role that she was putting out there. Like, she fully committed to acting out that role and knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. I'm glad that you liked her in it, because she's literally the only reason why I still watch it to this day. But yeah, I'm glad you liked it. We're going to start wrapping up soon, but I think it is time that we talk about your next assignment.
Oh, no.
So, you were telling me the reason why we had gotten into the Queen of the Damned and Vampire, the Interview with the Vampire, is because we were in the car and we were talking about horror movies that you had never seen, because it is a spoopy season. It was like right at the beginning of October that we were talking about it. You had not watched any of the Alien movies.
Yeah.
And I had told you I have the whole, like, all 4 films of it. And we're gonna watch the first Alien together. And then we will come back here and then we're gonna talk about it.
I was wondering, it's Ridley Scott, isn't it?
Yeah, Ridley Scott directed it. So I believe he directed the first and second film, James Cameron directed the third, and then Joss Whedon directed the fourth.
Oh, those are really different styles.
The one that Joss Whedon... Wait, I'm probably... Barry! Go get Barry. He knows... Barry has, like, an encyclopedia knowledge of directors and writers. Come here. So I got a question for you.
Okay.
Who directed each of the Alien films?
Ridley Scott, James Cameron.
Didn't Joss Whedon direct one?
No, he wrote the fourth one.
He wrote the fourth one. So it was literally just Ridley Scott, James Cameron, that was it.
And David Fincher, and I forget the
Okay, in chronological order. Aliens 1 was Ridley Scott, Aliens 2,
James Cameron,
Aliens 3,
David Fincher,
Aliens 4.
some French director. I just remember.
Some French director. So yeah.
Is that my bit?
Yeah, that's your bet. You can go now.
Cool. I've been Barry.
He's been very good to us.
Hate you both.
This is my all-time favorite horror movie. It's so good. It is so good. And the fact that they made Prometheus, then they made Aliens Covenant.
I have no idea.
I know still Prometheus. Going strong.
I know Prometheus was.
This franchise is still going strong, my friend.
Oh no, like the xenomorphs. I knew what xenomorphs were. I've never seen these movies, but you really can't escape that in pop culture.
Oh,
you
no.
really can't.
No. And I cannot wait for you to understand all the references. Like when me and Barry are being like, "Game over, man! Game over!"
Is that what that's from?
Yes, that's what it's from!
Oh my gosh!
Aren't you excited?
No, I'm really excited to watch this.
I will warn you, the first movie is a very slow burn.
It's from the late 70s.
Yeah, so it's a very slow burn, and then like every movie preceding it gets less and less slow to the burn, to the point where you're practically on fire come Aliens 4. But yeah, I'm really excited to just give you just nothing but horror movies for the next 6 months right now.
Oh, I'm so good. I love horror movies. Absolutely love them.
Yes. Put a hold on that. But basically, where can people find you?
So right now, you guys can find me at Twitter. The tag is @StonerMidnight. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
And so if anyone were to find you and sends you names of movies,
yeah, I will. I'll let you guys know.
You're going to message them to me so I can put them in the ever-growing jar. I'm going to have to get like a giant jar. For
no, we're talking like a gallon mason jar right now for the amount of movies that I haven't seen.
Without a doubt. I am so glad that you all stuck through to listen to me and Coder talk about these amazing, amazing movies. I cannot wait for y'all to listen to what we have in store for this sweet summer child, Coder. And yeah, we'll see you next time. And it's been real. Yay! Yay!